Two friends sat in a dimly lit room, the only sound the crackle of the fireplace. The elder of the village had just warned them, "Do not enter the cursed forest at night. It calls to you, knows you and what you fear." The warning lingered in the air, heavy and ominous. But the friends were young, curious and a bit reckless. The mystery of the forest called to them louder than any warning ever could. As the moon climbed high, they snuck out, flashlights in hand, and slipped into the dark woods. The forest was unnaturally silent. No chirping crickets, no rustling leaves, just an oppressive, eerie quiet. Shadows stretched and shifted unnaturally as their flashlights cut through the dense trees. They laughed nervously to each other, joking about old wives' tales and superstitions. But then they heard it. "Tommy?" a faint voice called. It was soft, almost a whisper, but unmistakably his mother's voice. The first friend froze, his flashlight shaking in his grip. "Did you hear that?" he whispered. The second friend, trying to stay brave, laughed nervously. "It's probably the wind or something. Let's keep going." But the voice came again, louder this time. "Tommy, come here. It's me." It wasn't just a voice. It was her voice. The same tone she used to call him in for dinner as a kid. He turned, aiming his flashlight wildly, but saw nothing. The second friend's heart started pounding when he heard his own name. Soft at first, then clearer. "Come on, Ben, over here!" It was his dad's voice. "Tommy, this isn't funny," Ben said, his voice cracking. "I'm not doing anything." Tommy snapped, his face pale. The voices grew louder, overlapping, insistent. They echoed through the trees, calling their names. Some sounded pleading, others angry. The forest seemed alive with their families' voices, all urging them to step deeper into the shadows. Tommy turned his flashlight toward the source, trembling. "Mom," he whispered into the dark. For a split second, he thought he saw her face between the trees. But something was wrong. Her eyes didn't blink and her smile stretched too wide. Ben grabbed Tommy's arm. "We need to leave now!" The voices turned shrill, desperate. "Don't go! Stay with us, Tommy! Ben, come back!" The trees seemed to close in around them, the once open path twisting and vanishing. Panic set in as the friends sprinted back the way they came. The voices didn't stop. They grew louder, angrier, until they were screaming their names. When they finally burst out of the forest and into the open fields, the night was still again. The screaming cut off like someone had flipped a switch. Both boys collapsed to the ground, gasping for air, too terrified to look back. The next morning, they told the elder what had happened. She shook her head and whispered, "The forest doesn't let go that easily. If it knows your name, it calls you back." Neither friend ever went near the cursed woods again. But sometimes late at night they would hear faint whispers of their names carried on the wind.